going to talk about your roundhouse kick. So you learn your standard basic roundhouse kick here, stepping forward, up, turn, kick, and back. That's your standard roundhouse. And really we're trying to get you into the motion of turning the foot on the ground and getting your hips around for that roundhouse kick. But there's all subtle variations, like with most kicks, with the roundhouse kick. Depending on the foot placement and the way you move your body, the angles will change. And the angles create different targets and different power and speed depending on what you want from your opponent. So let's cover some of the variations. The first variation is what I call a chopping roundhouse. This is coming up and chopping down. Generally, this is chopping into the legs. You're aiming for the leg and you're chopping in a downward motion from hip to knee. You're chopping across and down to the ground with this. To do that, you have to pop this. It pops. It's a slight little step and jump, and you turn to get your hips round, and then you lift, and you come down with that chopping motion on the leg. Powerful kick, really hurts the leg, but you have to watch this full commitment. So if they check, you could be in trouble coming down this way, because you're going to come straight down onto that check and that's going to hurt you instead. So with everything there's always a counter, right? So if they look like they're going to check, they're shifting their weight on their back leg, you wouldn't want to be doing a chopping roundhouse kick because you're likely to hurt yourself. You might switch to the second variation, which is an upward 45 roundhouse kick. So instead of pop and down, this one is just coming straight up. So this is where you're coming now upwards across. Instead of going down and chopping through, you're cutting kind of up and or across. And that's that 45. You're here and boom, straight in that 45 into the leg. You can do this one especially if they look like they're going to check. If their weight's shifting and they've got not a lot of weight on their front leg, then you pretty much want to do a 45 kick coming straight up into their side of their leg rather than the chopping one. Reserve the chopping one for if they're forward on their leg and their weight's on it. Third one, Taekwondo 45 kick. Basically this was a kick on your roundhouse, which is someone has their elbows out in a guard like this. This kick you want to come up underneath into the rib cage. So they've got the elbows out, target's there, and you come up on that 45. You're coming up into here, and you're going from the hip up angle across their body. That's that 45 roundhouse kick up under those elbows, which is sticking out, which we always say make sure you keep in. Fourth variation on roundhouse, fourth, is instead of elbows out, they have a good tight guard, elbows are in. So the rib cage is protected. A lot of boxers will be in like this. So this kick is for removing the ability for them to punch. You're attacking the tricep and the bicep of the arm, so they can't punch anymore because the arm hurts. For that, you're doing a roundhouse kick and a cross, which is pretty much our standard variation that we do for our roundhouse, up and across. Hitting the arm up here. You want to hit the arm to make it dead so they can't punch anymore. The last two variations are head height ones. One is a 360. A 360 roundhouse is coming up and it's chopping down through the neck, down across. So you've got to go up and come down. And because you're getting that extra downward motion, you do a full rotation generally through. So you're up, boom, and down. Up, and down. You're going all the way around. And as I say, this is coming up, and generally you're not going for the head. I mean, if you get it, great, but you're chopping into this neck here and chopping down across. The last one is taking off our standard variation again, but now aiming for that head kick. And you're aiming to put your foot on the temple of the person and retract it back. So you're going for height. Yeah? So a standard variation kick again, and it's now at head height. So you're going for that head shot. You have to lift your knee much higher than that low or that one to the body or the arms, because now you've got to get to the head. So this one here, you strike up really high and you hit into the temple. So those are some standard variations on the roundhouse kick. Practice the various ones. They all have specific purposes, as we say. Elbows in, elbows out. Depending on what's happening with your opponent, you will pick to attack a different target, and you adjust the kick and the slight angle of attack that roundhouse kick is going to take. Us.